I stand motionless in my parents' sophisticated living room, paralyzed. My phone is gripped so tightly in my trembling hand that my knuckles have turned white. Ryan's message, Lucas's business partner, still glows on the screen. Contract canceled. Someone leaked damaging information about Lucas's past. We need to talk. The rhythmic ticking of my father's grandfather clock pierces the silence, each sound marking another agonizing second of this unfolding nightmare. Tick, tick, tick. The familiar rhythm from my childhood now pounds in my head like a hammer. Madison's laughter floats in from the kitchen, where she sits with our parents. Its light, carefree tone makes my stomach knot. I've always envied how effortlessly happiness finds her, how smoothly she moves through life, while I fight for every inch I gain. I lift my gaze, trying to steady myself, when my eyes fall on Madison's open laptop resting on the side table. The screen glows, displaying an unfinished email, anonymous tip regarding Lucas Bennett's financial misconduct. My heart skips a beat as I take a cautious step closer. There are attachments, and as I lean in, I notice they contain distorted versions of Lucas's past business disputes. The only family I didn't mention to Madison over coffee just last month. The room suddenly feels stifling, almost suffocating. The truth clicks into place with a nauseating certainty. My own sister is deliberately undermining Lucas's business, my relationship, my shot at happiness. But why? The question sears through me, even as the answer sinks heavily in my gut like a stone. She's always been this way. My mind flashes back to when I was 16, eagerly showing my parents my art scholarship letter, only for them to nod absent-mindedly, too focused on Madison's perfect report card hanging on the fridge. Madison getting a $30,000 car while I received a $15 notebook for my birthday that same year. The countless hours I spent juggling 3 jobs just to put myself through design school. While Madison's Ivy League education was fully funded without question. The constant refrain echoes in my mind, why can't you be more like your sister? I take a deep breath and step toward the kitchen, my voice wavering slightly as I call out, Madison, what are you doing? She turns to me with that practiced, innocent expression I've seen 1,000 times before. Her blue eyes, so like mine, and yet somehow always more dazzling to others, widen slightly. What do you mean, sweetie? Mom and Dad look up from their coffee, their expressions immediately shifting from relaxed to guarded. The change is subtle but unmistakable. Hannah, my father says with a sigh, don't start causing problems again. Again. As if I'm always the one. As if I've ever been the one. A familiar knot forms in my stomach. The same feeling I had when no one believed me about Madison breaking my art project in 3rd grade, or when she told my prom date I was emotionally unstable hours before she was supposed to pick me up. It's the knot that forms when you're not believed, when your reality is constantly questioned until you start questioning it yourself. I grip the door frame, steadying myself against the wave of old hurt, threatening to pull me under. Lucas's words from last night float back to me. You deserve to be chosen first, Hannah. So simple, yet revolutionary to someone who's always been an afterthought. Something shifts inside me. It's subtle, a straightening of my shoulders, a slight lift of my chin. I look at my family gathered around the kitchen island, Madison at the center of their attention, as always, and for the first time, I truly see them see the dynamic that has shaped my entire life. See that nothing I do will ever change it. I step back quietly, unnoticed as I've always been, but this time it's my choice to fade from view. I slip out of the house without confrontation, leaving them unaware of what I've discovered. In my car, I stare the screenshot I took of Madison's email draft. My hands are sweaty now as I text Lucas. We need to talk. I know who sent the information. The engine hums to life, and I pull away from my parents' house. The family home grows smaller in my rearview mirror, and with each mile of distance, something new and unfamiliar unfurls inside me. The beginning of freedom. What would you do if you discovered your own flesh and blood was secretly destroying your chance at happiness? I've just found evidence of the ultimate betrayal. But my next move will change everything. And for once, I'm not looking back. I place my phone face down on Lucas's sleek glass desk. The screenshots of Madison's emails still burning in my mind. His office is a study in minimalism, their white walls, a single potted succulent, nothing to distract from the work at hand. Nothing to soften the blow I'm about to deliver. That's it. That's everything I found, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. Lucas nods slowly, his face a careful mask of calm. Only his hands betray him, knuckles whitening as he grips the edge of his desk. I've never seen him like this. So still, yet so clearly containing a storm. A $500,000 contract. He finally says each word. Precise and measured. Gone. because of rumors about a business dispute that was settled years ago. My own sister did this to us. The guilt rises like bile in my throat. I brought this into your life. Lucas's eyes find mine, and the intensity in them makes me catch my breath. No, Hannah, you didn't do this. Madison did. Her name hangs between us, and suddenly the floodgates open. It's not just this. I say the words tumbling out after years of silence. It's everything. Always been everything with her. I sink into the chair across from him, memories surfacing like bruises under pressure. When I was in college, my friends suddenly started treating me differently. I found out later. Madison had told them I was always jealous and competitive with her. I stare at my hands. The night before my interview with Barton Design, she accidentally spilled red wine all over my portfolio. I had to stay up all night recreating it. Lucas watches me, his silence encouraging every time something good happens. She's there with her backhanded compliments. When I landed the Morrison project, she told everyone, "It's amazing you got that job. They must really need someone inexpensive." The familiar hurt flares. But it's different. No. Illuminated by understanding rather than confusion. My phone buzzes against the desk. I flip it over to see my mother's name on the screen. Something in me already knows what this call will bring. I put the call on speaker. Hannah, Madison says you're upset with her. What did you do now? My mother asks, her voice filling the room, familiar in its instinctive defense of my sister. I decline the call without answering, only for my phone to buzz immediately with a voicemail notification. This time, it's my father. Your sister is just worried about you rushing into things with Lucas. Call her and apologize for whatever this is about. I place the phone down gently, strange calm washing over me. They've never been on my side. I say, the realization settling into my bones with the weight of absolute truth. Not once. Lucas stands, circles the desk, and takes my hand in his. With his other hand, he picks up his own phone and dials Alan. It's Lucas. I need you to draft a cease and desist letter right away. His grip on my fingers tightens. Yes, it's urgent. As he speaks to his lawyer, detailing Madison's actions with precise clarity, I experience something rare, someone fighting for me. When he hangs up, I blink back tears. No one's ever done that for me before, I whisper. No one's ever fought for me. We're not going to let her destroy what we've built, he says simply. Not our business, not our relationship, not our future. There's steel in his voice, and I draw strength from it, even as my phone continues to light up with notifications. I open one, a screenshot from a mutual friend showing Madison's latest social media post. It's unsettling when someone turns out to be different from who they claim to be. I'm just looking out for the people I care about. Things are getting worse. As I scroll through comments from family, friends, and lifelong acquaintances, I see them suddenly doubting Lucas's character. 3 clients canceled their contracts this morning, Lucas says quietly. Investors are getting nervous. Even my design clients have started reaching out. They've been hearing concerns. The tendrils of Madison's sabotage are reaching everywhere. That night, I stare at the cease and desist letter draft on Lucas's laptop. The formal legal language transforms my sister into the offending party. Tomorrow this will be sent to Madison Wilson, my own flesh and blood. My finger hovers over the trackpad, unable to close the document. Ryan says we might be able to salvage the Westlake contract. Lucas says from the doorway, his tie loosened after a long day of damage control. Not everything is lost. I turn to face him, my throat tight. Is this really what it's come to? Legal action against my own sister. Lucas sits beside me, his expression softening. You don't have to do this if you're not ready. That's just it, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I think I am ready. And that terrifies me. The realization settles between use what kind of person takes legal action against their own family? Am I becoming someone I don't recognize? But then I remember Madison's calculated betrayal. Her years of undermining me, and my resolve hardens. Send it. I close the laptop with a quiet click. Lucas nods, grasping the weight of this decision. I'll tell Alan first thing tomorrow. As he sleeps beside me, his breathing steady and deep, I lie awake, watching shadows drift across the ceiling. This small victory, salvaging a contract, standing up for ourselves, comes at the cost of severing the last ties to my family. I spent 3 decades trying to earn my place in a family that never made room for me. Now I'm choosing to step away from that struggle entirely. Sleep evades me. My mind torn between family loyalty and self-respect. Every time I close my eyes, I see Madison's face. Hear my mother's voice automatically blaming me for my father's dismissal. Then I imagine Lucas losing everything he's built because of my sister's jealousy. By dawn, My pillow is damp with tears. I didn't realize I was shedding, but my resolve remains unshaken. The next morning, I find myself pulling a box from the back of my closet. Inside are old journals, forgotten emails printed years ago, a record I kept without fully understanding why. I flip through pages documenting Madison's coincidental sabotage. An old email from Madison to her college roommate catches my eye. I can't stand that she might actually be happy. She doesn't deserve it. After getting that scholarship I wanted, I placed everything in a folder and write a single word on the tab. Truth. As I close the folder, a quiet determination settles over me like armor. I won't be erased anymore. I whisper to the empty room, my voice gaining strength with each word. Not by her. Not by anyone. Have you ever realized that someone close to you is secretly working against your happiness? What warning signs did you overlook? Hannah has just uncovered years of sabotage by her own sister. Would you confront the betrayal or walk away for good? I just want to protect you, Hannah. Madison's voice carries just the right touch of concern as she hands the mashed potatoes to Dad. The dining room feels stifling despite the high ceilings and open windows. The grandfather clock that witnessed my discovery of Madison's betrayal last week continues its steady rhythm in the background, a metronome counting moments of my diminishing patience. Madison has always looked out for you, Mom adds, nodding with such certainty that for a half-second I almost believe her. Almost. Dad clears his throat. Lucas's business history is troubling. He doesn't look at me, just focuses on cutting his roast beef into unnecessarily precise squares. I take a slow sip of water, steadying myself. 3 days ago, Madison texted Julia, my college roommate. I'm worried about Hannah rushing into things with Lucas. There are some red flags I can't ignore. Yesterday, it was my cousin Elaine. Today, and Patricia called. Her voice strained with manufactured worry about the man I love. The systematic dismantling of my happiness continues with surgical precision. And they all sit here. Conspirators in matching sweaters, passing potatoes. My design studio feels like sanctuary after the suffocating family dinner. Afternoon light streams through the industrial windows, catching dust motes that dance around my drafting table. My fingers trail over the frames on the wall. The Architectural Digest feature on my restaurant renovation. The Peterson Award for Innovative Residential Design. The thank you letter from the Children's Hospital where I redesigned their cancer ward. I remember Professor Winters standing in this very spot 5 years ago before the accolades, when this was just an empty rental with concrete floors and hope. You have rare talent, Hannah, she said, her voice firm as she studied my portfolio. So don't let anyone dim your light. My phone buzzes. It's Lucas. They've responded to the cease and desist. He says without preamble. His voice carries the controlled calm that I've come to recognize as anger. Madison claims complete innocence, says she, shocked and hurt by the accusation. I sit heavily in my desk chair, staring at the sketch of the mountain retreat I've been designing for us 3 bedrooms, a studio overlooking the lake far from Madison. Far from all of them. She's never going to stop. I say, the realization settling in my chest like stone unless I make her. Madison's apartment building gleams with the self-importance of new money, all glass and polished concrete. The doorman acknowledges me with a nod as I pass by Miss Wilson to meet Miss Wilson. My voice is steadier than my heartbeat as I speak. The elevator ascends 22 floors. I watch the numbers rise, each one drawing me closer to a confrontation 3 decades in the making. Madison opens the door with the effortless confidence of someone who expects only pleasant surprises. Her smile falters the moment she sees my expression. Hannah, is everything okay? The concern in her voice sounds sincere, which only makes it worse. She has convinced herself of her own lies for so long. I step inside without waiting for an invitation. Her apartment is pristine, sleek furniture, abstract art, and city views that cost more than my first year of college tuition. I place my folder on her glass coffee table. What's this? She asks, the first note of unease creeping into her voice. Evidence. I open the folder, removing screenshots of her email to Lucas's clients. The draft I found on her laptop, phone records showing her calls to his former business partner. I know what you did. I know what you've always done. Her face changes. The mask slipping like a curtain falling. The transformation is so complete it's almost beautiful. You don't deserve what you have, she says, her voice quiet but sharp as a blade. You never did. I stand taller. Something unfamiliar and powerful unfurling in my chest. That's not for you to decide, I say. Not anymore. The following week passes in a blur of strategic movement. Lucas arranges emergency meetings with clients, calmly presenting evidence of Madison's interference. My phone rings with unexpected support, Julia insisting on lunch. Professor Winter is offering me partnership in her expanding firm clients, reaffirming their faith in my work. Madison tried to turn me against you in college, you know. Julia tells me over salads at our favorite cafe. She called me sophomore year. You said she was talking about me behind my back. I stare at her, memories shifting into a clearer picture. Why didn't you tell me? Julia shrugs. I knew it wasn't true. I figured it was just sister stuff. She reaches across the table, giving my hand a gentle squeeze. I never realized how calculated it was until you showed me those emails. That evening, surrounded by Lucas and our 6 closest friends in his apartment, I find myself blinking back tears as he kneels before me. I never thought I deserved this, I whisper as he slides the ring onto my finger. Not flashy, but elegant. Perfect. We're having a private ceremony, Lucas announces to our friends, his arms securely wrapped around my waist. Only those who support our happiness. I meet each gaze in the room, feeling the weight of their genuine joy. Only family with a smile that holds new boundaries like armor. My childhood bedroom remains frozen in time. Cream walls, faded floral bedspread. Bookshelves lined with art history volumes and design magazines. I remove my watercolors from the wall one by one, each revealing a slightly darker rectangle of paint beneath. My fingers trace the doorframe where pencil marks trapped our growth. Madison, always taller, always ahead. The physical manifestation of how I've always lived in her shadow. I catch my reflection in the mirror. The same mirror where I practice smiles. After Madison told me my real one showed too much gum. I see myself clearly now. Perhaps for the first time, the house key feels heavy in my palm. I place it on the dresser with deliberate care. The small sound it makes against the wood oddly final. I'm not coming back here. You're invited. I tell my parents on the phone. But Madison is not welcome. The silence stretches so long I check to see if the card is connected. You can't exclude your sister. Dad's voice explodes. Finally, family comes for the familiar. Guilt rises and recedes like a tide. I'm learning to predict. Yes, I agree. My voice. Quiet. Family should come first. Remember the next time you choose sides. I'm arranging seating cards at our kitchen table. When Lucas strides in his face tight with controlled anger, he places his phone in front of me. The screen displays an email from Ryan. Lucas Madison Wilson, my former business partner, contacted me yesterday. He inquired about investment opportunities but spent most of the call fishing for information about you. He also mentioned that she'll be attending a special event soon. I thought you should know. My stomach sinks. She's planning something for the wedding. Lucas sits beside me, taking my hands in his. His thumbs trace calming circles on my palms. We've prepared for this, Hannah. The venue has security. The guest list is locked. Let her try. I glance at our carefully arranged seating cards, each one representing someone who truly supports us. For the first time in my life, I built something Madison can't infiltrate or destroy. A smile forms on my lips, not the cautious one I've worn for years, but something new, determined, even dangerous. For once, I say, squeezing Lucas's hands. I'm 2 steps ahead of her. I stand before the full-length mirror in the bridal boutique's private room, barely recognizing the woman staring back at me. The wedding dress me on design, brought to life by skilled hands, falls in elegant, clean lines against my body. Nothing extravagant or showy, just simple sophistication that feels authentically me. It's perfect, I whisper, tracing my fingers over the handcrafted beadwork at the waist, hundreds of tiny stitches I had meticulously sketched in my design notebook. My wedding planner, Diane, steps back, her eyes filled with approval. The venue overlooking the lake is secured, small, intimate, just 30 guests as planned. She hesitates for a moment, then lowers her voice. Security has been briefed with your sister's photo. The words linger between us. 2 months ago, the thought of hiring security to keep my own sister away would have filled me with guilt. Now, all I feel is unwavering resolve. Today is about love, not chaos. I say it more for myself than for Diane. My phone buzzes on the nearby table. Madison's name flashes on the screen for the 3rd time today. I ignore the call, silencing it without answering, but not before noticing the voicemail notification. Later, alone in my car, I press play. Bracing myself, Hannah Madison's voice trembles with rehearsed emotion. You can't do this to me. I'm your sister. The same familiar manipulation. After everything we've been through together. Every word carefully crafted to chip away at my newfound strength. I delete the message before she can finish. Then come the texts. A flood of guilt disguised as concern. Mom cries every night because of you. Dad can barely eat. Is this really what you want? Hannah, painting me as the villain tearing the family apart. I set my phone down on the passenger seat, my hand steady. 6 months ago, these words would have unraveled me. Now, they only affirm that I'm making the right choice. When Lucas calls that evening, I can hear the tension in his voice before he speaks. Madison showed up at my office today. He says the grandfather clock in our hallway takes loudly in the silence that follows that familiar sound that once measured my suffering. Now merely counts the seconds until Lucas continues. What did she say? I ask, though I am, that you've always been unstable when things go well. That I should be careful about marrying someone with your history of emotional problems. He pauses. She said she was just concerned about me. A hollow laugh escapes me. Madison. I had security escort her out. Lucas says, his voice warming, and I told her if she ever spoke about you like that again, we'd slander to the cease and desist. That night, our wedding planner calls, her voice tense. Someone tried to cancel your cake order and flower arrangements claimed to be you. I close my eyes, unsurprised. Don't worry, she adds quickly. I've alerted all vendors. Nothing changes without in-person verification now. The next morning brings a call I've been expecting. My mother's voice comes through, sharp and brittle. You're tearing this family apart, Hannah. Is that what you want? I watch the leaves on the maple tree outside my window dance in the autumn breeze, their edges beginning to turn golden red. I'm not tearing anything apart, Mom. I'm simply refusing to maintain a relationship that's harmful to me. If Madison isn't welcome at your wedding, your father and I won't come either. The ultimatum hangs between us. In the past, this would have been enough to make me crumble, to accept whatever terms kept the fragile peace. Instead, I feel an unexpected lightness. That's her choice to make. I've made mine. The shocked silence on the other end speaks volumes. She hadn't expected this response. As the wedding day approaches, support arrives from unexpected places. Lucas hires additional security. Without me asking, design clients send cards filled with warm wishes. Lucas's business partners released a joint statement reaffirming his integrity after anonymous concerns surfaced in their industry. On the morning of our wedding, the sky is clear and the air cool. I stand by the window of the bridal suite, overlooking the lake, watching the early mist rise from the water. When my planner appears at the door, she speaks carefully, "Your parents are here." Just your parents. A tightness grips my chest, surprise, relief, and something more complex, something I can't quite name. They came, after all, without Madison. Later that afternoon, as I walk down the aisle, I catch sight of them in the back row. Their expressions are subdued, almost hesitant, as if they're still adjusting to this new reality, one where their youngest daughter has set the terms they must accept rather than dictate. Lucas waits for me beneath an arch of autumn flowers, his eyes never leaving mine. As I join him, he takes my hands in his, squeezing them gently around us, my colleagues from the design world, beaming with genuine pleasure. Lucas's business partners nod respectfully at my father, who seems smaller, somehow less imposing than the man whose disapproval once shaped my every decision. My phone sits silent in my purse, Madison's increasingly desperate voicemails unheard. A mutual friend mentioned she seemed unraveled lately. Her carefully constructed image of the perfect daughter beginning to show cracks. Her latest social media post plays the victim. Family abandonment hurts more than anyone can understand, but her words don't have power over me anymore. I choose you first. Always. Lucas vows, his voice steady and sure as we exchange promises. Tears blur my vision, but unlike so many tears I've shared before, these hold nothing but joy, pure and untainted by family drama. For the first time in my life. At the reception, my father approaches our table, his hands trembling slightly as he grasps the back of an empty chair. Madison told us things. He begins, his voice unusually hesitant. Things I'm starting to question. I meet his gaze evenly. I know actually what she told you. For my clutch, I remove a small flash drive and place it in his hand. Here's the truth. It's your choice whether to see it. He stares at the small device as if it might burn him, then closes his fingers around it with a nod. As he walks away, Lucas leans in close. Are you okay? I watch my father rejoin my mother, holding up the flash drive with a solemn expression. Whatever comes next is their decision to make. It's no longer my burden to bear. Yes, I reply, surprised by how true it feels. For the first time in a long while, I truly am. The doorbell rings, its chime reverberating through our new home like an unwelcome echo of the past. Through the frosted glass, I recognize Madison's silhouette, shoulders slightly hunched, head tilted in that carefully practiced posture of vulnerability she has mastered over the years. Lucas squeezes my hand. You don't have to do this. I know. I smooth my cotton blouse and square my shoulders, resisting the old urge to shrink. But I do it anyway. I open the door. Madison's eyes are already brimming with tears. 2 weeks of marital bliss have changed me. But she seems diminished somehow, designer clothes slightly disheveled, the confidence in her posture gone. Hannah. Her voice breaks perfectly on the second syllable. I had to see you. I step aside without embracing her. The Madison standing in my living room is a study in control and devastation, tearful but not unraveled. Vulnerable yet dignified, she perches on the edge of our sofa like a wounded bird. I was jealous. She looks up, a single tear tracing down her cheek. I've always been jealous of you. A familiar sense of responsibility tugs at my chest. She's still my sister, the little girl who once held my hand while crossing the street to school. I've been fired from Harrington Financial. Her voice drops to a whisper. Someone's sentence of an inappropriate communications. Her eyes flick to mine, gauging my reaction. I don't know what I'm going to do. I remain standing, hands relaxed to my sides. That sounds difficult. Madison shifts tactics, her fingers tracing the edge of our coffee table. Mom and Dad are thinking of selling the house. They're upset about everything. An unspoken accusation lingers in the air. Your fault. When I don't respond, she continues, did you know I ran into Ryan last week? Lucas's old business partner had some interesting things to say. The grandfather clock in the hallway ticks steadily. Her veiled threat doesn't faze me. Not anymore. We used to be so close as children. Madison murmurs, pulling a tissue from her purse. Remember how you used to read to me during storms? I walk to the kitchen, aware of her gaze following me. Would you like some tea? I call over my shoulder, my voice steady. When I return with 2 elegant porcelain cups, wedding gifts from Lucas's aunt, Madison's confusion is clear. She studies my face, searching for cracks in my composure. Let me get something for you, I say, setting down her cup. Madison straightens, expression brightening as I retrieve a document folder from my desk. Her fingers reach for it eagerly, anticipation replacing the manufactured sorrow in her eyes. But instead of the checkbook, she clearly expects. I slide a single photograph across the table. Madison stares at it, momentarily puzzled. It shows us as children, me at 11 a.m., around 7-year-old Madison after she'd fallen from her bike. Her knee bleeding. My expression concerned as I comfort her. I was never your enemy. I say quietly. You created that all alone. The calculated mask slips from Madison's face. She pushes the photo away. What is this supposed to be? Some sentimental nonsense, a reminder for both of us. Her eyes narrow. If you think one old photo changes anything. I don't. I take a slow, deliberate sip of tea. But this might. I sent the evidence of your communications to Harrington Financial myself. That's why you were terminated. The color drains from Madison's face. You wouldn't dare. I also upgraded our cease and desist to potential legal action. My voice stays calm, almost gentle. I didn't have to destroy you, Madison. You did that yourself. She stands abruptly, her teacup clattering against the saucer. Mom and Dad will never believe this. They know what you're like, always jealous, always competing. My phone rings. I glance at the screen and answer, putting it on speaker without breaking eye contact with Madison. Hannah. My father's voice sounds different. Smaller somehow. We watch the videos, read the emails. We had no idea. My mother's voice filters through, clearly crying all those years. Why didn't you tell us? I tried. The simple truth hangs between us. Now you do. What matters is to do next. I am the call. Madison's manufactured composure crumbles, completely replaced by raw fury. Her eyes so like mine in color, but nothing else. Dangerously. You've destroyed everything, but she no longer sheds tears over it. No. I meet her gaze unwaveringly. I'm just done letting you destroy me. Madison snatches her designer purse, storms toward the door, and slams it with enough force to shake the windows. The sound echoes through our home before fading into silence. Lucas steps out of his office, having given me space while staying close enough to step in if needed. His arms wrap around me from behind, and I lean back against his chest, exhaling slowly. It's really over, I whisper, my voice steady despite the tightness in my throat. That evening, I carefully pack my childhood photo albums into storage boxes. Lucas watches from the doorway as I keep only one picture, not of Madison, but of my younger self at art camp, paintbrush in hand. eyes shining with possibility, a reminder of who I was and who I chose to become. Lucas presses a kiss to my temple. What do you think about the lake house? The one we saw last month? It's far from everything. I run my fingers along the frame of the photograph, considering. Distance isn't running away. I say at last. It's making space for peace. 6 months later, an envelope arrives, bearing my parents' return address. I hold it, feeling its weight in my hands. Lucas watches in silence as I hesitate before carefully tearing it open. Inside is a handwritten note from my father. We've asked Madison to get help. We should have done this years ago. I set the note on the kitchen counter, my emotions too tangled to name. Morning sunlight spills over the polished hardwood floors of our Tahoe Lake house. Golden rectangles stretch across the floor, warming my bare feet as I stand in my design studio. My fingers trace the edge of my drafting table while I gaze at the still, sapphire blue water. In these early hours, the contrast between this serene space and the chaos of my childhood home sometimes leaves me motionless. They confirmed Tokyo, Lucas says, appearing in the doorway with a coffee mug in hand. His smile exudes the quiet confidence I've come to depend on. The focus is now on international offices, London, Sydney, Berlin, and Tokyo. I nod, reflecting on how far we've both come. My latest hotel design portfolio lies open on my desk, showcasing renderings of the project that just won the Henderson Award. Hearing, "I'm so proud of you," from anyone else might feel like a mere formality, but when Lucas says it, the words carry true weight. Madison's voice still lingers in my mind sometimes. Who would hire you for a luxury project? But it's fading. The standing ovation at last month's awards ceremony nearly silenced it completely. The restaurant I've chosen for this meeting sits perfectly between my parents' home and mine, a neutral ground. Through the window, I spot them, my father's silver hair catching the light. My mother fidgets with her napkin, her movements small and uncertain. This meeting was their idea, not mine. "We let you down," my father says after the awkward greetings and small talk about the unseasonably warm weather. His once imposing hands tremble slightly around his water glass. "We ignored what Madison was doing for too long." My mother's eyes glisten. "We didn't do right by you, Hannah, and I regret it." The admission lingers between us. A year ago, I would have rushed to smooth things over, eager to forgive and make it easier for everyone, the old Hannah, desperate for scraps of parental approval. Instead, I take a slow sip of water, carefully choosing my words. "I appreciate that," I say finally, my voice steady. Steady. Trust takes time. They exchange glances and nod. "We can build a new relationship," I continue, "but it will be different." The relief on their faces surprises me. They never expected instant forgiveness, just the chance, and for that, they seem grateful. Later that week, I sit cross-legged on the floor of Dr. Myers's office, paintbrush in hand. The canvas before me bursts with colors I once feared to use, bold reds, deep purples. My therapy sessions have become a sanctuary. Luke gives me space to do this work alone, yet remains unwaveringly supportive. Forgiveness isn't for them. I write in my journal that evening. It's for me. Laughter fills our lake house during a small gathering. Hannah has genuine friends now, friendships that come without conditions. Ryan raises his glass in a toast to Lucas's business partner, without whom none of their success would have been possible. Across the room, my old design mentor catches my eye. "You found your voice," she says softly. A young woman from my first workshop clutches her portfolio, her eyes bright with unspoken tears. "Your story helped me set boundaries with my own family," she tells me. And something shifts subtly within me. "Our stories can become stepping stones for others," I reply, my smile genuine. Madison's letter sits unopened on my desk for days. When I finally read it on the deck overlooking the lake, the undercurrent of jealousy doesn't surprise me. No explanation could ever justify the pain she caused, but the acknowledgement matters in ways I hadn't expected. My responses set firm boundaries, no blind forgiveness. If anything is rebuilt, it will be on my terms. I seal the envelope and place it in my desk drawer instead of the mailbox. I'm giving myself time to be sure. The sunset paints the lake in fire as Lewis joins me on the dock. "Are you okay?" he asks, a simple question, yet heavy with understanding. I gaze at the horizon, feeling the quiet reassurance of his hand in mine. For the first time in my life, I say, "I think I'm supposed to be."